the red blood cell. This is known as chloride shift. Okay, and then the hydrogen carbonate ions carried to the lungs and converted to carbon dioxide molecules, and carbon dioxide molecules exhales out from the lung to the air. Okay, this about 85% of carbon dioxide transported out in the form of carbonic acid. Hydrogen ion in the red blood cell, carbonic acid is deassociated and forming hydrogen carbonate ion and hydrogen ion before diffusing into plasma. Hydrogen ion increase in red blood cell, and when this happens, when more hydrogen ion in the blood cell, pH level of the blood is lower. Means when there are more carbon dioxide in your blood, the pH level of your blood will be lower. Means we can say it become acidic, because lower pH indicate acidic environment. This situation would make oxyhemoglobin unload its oxygen. Okay, and then we have carbamino compounds. Means carbon dioxide, 10% of carbon dioxide produced during tissue respiration diffuses into the blood cell in the form of carbamino compound. Before this, 85%. That one is carbonate ions. Okay, now we talk about carbamino compounds. So carbamino compounds, about 10%. This combination between carbon dioxide diffuse into hemoglobin, combined with hemoglobin. So we have carbamino hemoglobin. Carbamino compounds transported to the lungs and the deassociation process would release carbon dioxide. And likewise, when this carbamino compound is converted to carbon dioxide in the lung, the carbon dioxide will be expelled. How? Exhalation. So you exhale out. The binding of carbon dioxide with hemoglobin would lower affinity hemoglobin towards oxygen. Subsequently, oxygen would be released. The more concentrated carbon dioxide in the hemoglobin, it will give the body signal to release oxygen, because yes, there are accumulation of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is waste. You don't need this carbon dioxide. What you need, when more carbon dioxide is, you need oxygen. Your body need more oxygen. So in the event of binding of carbon dioxide with hemoglobin, hemoglobin tends to release more oxygen. 5% of carbon dioxide dissolve in blood plasma, only 5%. Okay, 85% tadi we have in the form of carbonate ion, bicarbonate ion. And then we have in the carbamino compound, and then 5%, that one carbamino compound is 10%. Now 5% is carbon dioxide that dissolve in blood plasma and forming carbonic acid. But there is lack of anhydrase enzyme in plasma. When lack of anhydrase enzyme in plasma, conversion occurs at slower rate. So likewise, it become hydrogen carbonate ion and also hydrogen ion H plus. And then the presence of hydrogen ion would lower the pH in the plasma. While hydrogen carbonate ions carried into the lung and release carbon dioxide during exhalation to the air. Okay, the same thing. It will release the carbon dioxide into the air. But the efficiency is low due to lack of anhydrase enzyme. Okay. Oxygen disassociation curves. Inhalation. Okay. First, we inhale oxygen. How to get oxygen? First, you inhale oxygen. Okay. High partial pressure of oxygen, low partial pressure in the alveolus. When you inhale, high high concentration of oxygen in your alveolus, but low concentration of carbon dioxide at the same time. This one is when you inhale oxygen. And then oxygen diffuses from alveolus into blood capillaries, and carbon dioxide diffuses from blood capillaries into alveolus. Terbalik. Okay. Oxygen diassociation curves. The curve is sigmoid or S-shaped. Okay, why? Why? Because of this transport of oxygen. The graph shows the percentage of saturation of oxygen at various partial pressure of oxygen. You see that when the partial pressure of oxygen is low affinity at low pressure, oxygen will be released. High affinity at high partial pressure of oxygen, oxygen will bind. Okay, oxygen will bind. Okay, two important features of hemoglobin. The high affinity of hemoglobin for oxygen. Okay, when the oxygen, hemoglobin tend to bind to it. Okay, oxygen binds. That is called oxygen binds. Okay. These are the feature of hemoglobin. Oxyhemoglobin, when you bind oxygen to hemoglobin, you have oxyhemoglobin. So this complex, oxyhemoglobin complex, it responds to the falling of oxygen partial pressure. So when this happens, when oxygen is low, oxyhemoglobin will release the oxygen. Means that they associate. So you have hemoglobin and you have oxygen. So that hemoglobin pigment is empty of the oxygen, because the sensor, okay, the signal is oxygen is low. Now oxygen is low, so oxyhemoglobin will deassociate the oxygen. This is called oxygen release. Factors that could change the oxygen deassociation curves. Okay. Usually the activity, what you are doing. The sigmoid curve shows hemoglobin can become fully saturated at lower pressure of oxygen. The affinity of hemoglobin for oxygen could be lowered due to 1. Presence of 2,3-diphosphoglycerate. Okay, it is a product of metabolism. 2. High temperature. 3. When the partial pressure of oxygen in tissue is low. So the oxygen can be transferred from the lungs to the active tissue. Usually this happen, okay, when you involve in activity like sport, or you are doing something active. Okay, when you do something active, that could change the oxygen deassociation curves. Okay. Shifting the oxyhemoglobin deassociation curve. Okay. This is the left shift implication is, okay, why the curve go to the left. Okay, go to the left, the left side, left shift they call it. Because high pH, more basic. Okay, high pH, more basic, low temperature, low biphosphoglycerate. Okay, this also happen in fetal hemoglobin if you compare with the adult hemoglobin. Okay, high oxygen affinity to the hemoglobin. Implication: when this left shifted curve happen, okay, when the curve shift to the left, the implication would be increase of oxygen affinity. So the hemoglobin tend to bind to the oxygen, but lower the oxygen delivered to the tissue. Means this one is you are not that active. You're not that active. Okay, low temperature of your body. You are more relaxed this thing. Okay, more relaxed. But if it shift to the right side, okay, what cause it? Because low pH. Low pH mean more acidic. More acidic indicate also the concentration of carbon dioxide in your blood is high. Low pH increase CO2 and high temperature and high biphosphoglycerate. And then this means that this sends the signal to the hemoglobin to deassociate the oxygen. Oxyhemoglobin will deassociate with oxygen because due to the low pH and high concentration of carbon dioxide